Greetings, everyone. Want y'all to look at this majestic elephant here. That's where we all come from, the Republic, at least those in the tribes. So, welcome to the Sane Society Channel. How's everybody out there today? This is the 10 o'clock scholar today. My name is Rashid. As always, I've always got news. I'm really in my niche because there's always something to report on. And depending on where you are in your spiritual journey, it can be positive or negative. If you're elevating, working on yourself, do you see the good in everything? However, if contrary to that, you're so afraid, you're frightened of every little change. And some of y'all just can't handle it. Y'all gonna check yourself out, voluntarily or involuntarily. That's just the truth. So don't be shocked when you see that happening. It's happening now. If you can just see, a lot of things are not being told to you because they don't want you to panic. But this transition is taking place before your eyes. I mean, can't you just feel it in the air? Some of y'all can't feel it because they got you hypnotized with this race thing. Yeah, I'm talking about black and white people. Y'all need to forget about this race thing. I mean, it's just something to. Okay, let's look at it like this. Why did racism? Why was that idea created? I did the research on this because back 17 was the 1700s. Greetings, everyone coming in. I'll get to y'all questions in a minute, maybe a few minutes. But back in the beginning of this current Constitution, we had more than one. We was really united as a people. Yeah, and they couldn't do that race thing on us because we was too united. We wouldn't go for it. So there's the main idea of those who run the chessboard. Yeah, the chessboard. They say, well, we got to do something to divide these people. We can't have them all coming at us like this. We won't sustain ourselves. So racism was invented to give white people a false idea of superiority and give black people false ideas of inferiority. Therefore, they would always be fighting against each other. So then they can rest assured because that energy is not coming to them. So that was created as their survival mechanism for those in power. Because we would come after all of them. We was united. They couldn't do anything with us as a whole because we was united as a people. But the first law of war tactic is divide and conquer. So that's when they divided us by bringing complexion into it. That's so silly because the same idea is if they said something like, we're not gonna let overweight people do this or do that. You think people would want for that? No, they had to get something because you can lose weight. So you couldn't discriminate on weight. So they had to get something that they could not change to make it a permanent change. So they said, well, no one can change the color of their skin. Why don't we make that a rallying point of separation among those people? They see us as being so dumb who can't see through the curtains that if they took away, just think for a minute, if they took away this idea of racism, we are united as one against the government when they're doing wrong, they couldn't survive. So it's a disadvantage, especially to the so-called whites, because now they have a government they can't control because they have divided you among the people, and you think you always have an advantage because of your race. So you're not going to rock the boat because you want to preserve your advantages. But it's a slow killing you all. They've got y'all pushed rockabye baby to sleep. You see, to change this government is not for the so-called black people. We've always been victimized by it. But you have as well, but you don't see it. So you're the ones who have to change it. You have to change it. But you won't, or you haven't, or you don't want to. So you're going to suffer the consequences of that of that decision. How many of y'all lost jobs during this government? What they call it? Government uh, downsizing. Right now, teachers are losing their jobs by the millions because the education department being moved. The education department is removed to the states. That's where it's always supposed to have been. The state was supposed to control the education, not no federal government. All that was an agenda to push the propaganda on the students, the children, to keep them slaves. So now the state has control. The state is getting its power back that what they had under the Articles of Confederation. That was the people's constitution, the Articles of Confederation, because the federal government had very little power. That's why they changed it. These people just want to sit up there and rule and grow big and fat off you, make decisions that affect you while they receive immunity. And now it's so corrupt it should be totally disbanded. I'm talking about the government because they're in inside trading. Do you know when the first people, let's say in the Articles of Confederation, when you was president, you had a job like everybody else. Don't you see how just that would be? Everybody have a job. Don't you see how unjust it is? You paying someone more than the average person is making. It put them as an advantage. But how should you be an advantage when you're a representative of the people? In the Federalist Paper number 10, they talk about this. Political parties and how a time will come when they will control opinions of the people so much, you're bringing a government that you have no control of. And they can always say, the people demanded that government. Just what you have now. Hey, what's going on? What's your name? Ninjaku Gaming. Ninjaku Gaming. Okay. If you have other people in there, there's a lot of people here, but a lot of y'all don't chime in, so I can't give you a holler out. Yeah, we're talking about a sane society. This is a book written by Eric Fromm in the 1950s, and it's so true today. So if you have a chance, go back and read the book. Get in the library. They should have a copy of it. Any of his books are amazing. He had amazing insight, a psychoanalyst. He was a contemporary of Freud. Maybe he came a little after Freud. However, he didn't buy into that Freud ideas basing everything on sex. He said, no, it's not based on sex. Everything is based on the human condition. Okay, I don't see a lot of people here. Maybe I'll come back later.